Welcome to the Managing the Smart Mind podcast with your host, Coach Kramer. This is episode 89. Don't ask yourself who, but how you want to be. Hello there, smart human. I am back from a wonderful summer break, which included lots and lots and lots of reading. I read so many books, so good. Staring at the ocean, watching the light change on the cliffs of northern Normandy, and meeting lots of Mensons and eating some great food. Some other stuff as well. It was great, but I have to say, I also love being back. I love autumn. I love the start of the academic year. I love the special energy that's in the air. All that potential. And this is the time many of us make new plans, whether it's for our business, whether it's for our careers or our personal lives. So that is what I want to talk to you about today, how to, at a meta level, approach that. Now, there's a lot of talk in coaching and self-development of figuring out who you want to be, like your future self, and then stepping into that identity. Maybe faking it until you make it even. And from the perspective of the brain, it can definitely be very useful to visualize the person you want to become, your surroundings, right? To kind of habituate your nervous system to what that is going to be like and to make it easier to act in a corresponding way. But there's always a but. We tend to get a bit carried away with this. And then turn it into some kind of painting by number exercise, which completely lacks any emotional charge and becomes meaningless and becomes something that we don't even want to engage with. I'll give you an example, right? I tried for years to visualize future me, and I never could. It was some plastic, fantastic version of me that I never even wanted to be. I talked about this at length in episodes 48 and 49 on visualization. If you haven't already, you may want to check those out. So yes, I was trying to imagine something that I didn't even want to be. But the other reason I couldn't visualize a future me is that I don't have that kind of identity, that solid idea of knowing where I want to go and what I want to be doing in 3 or 5 or 10 years' time. Maybe some people do, probably. But most fast-brained humans I work with don't. And I think there's a couple of reasons for that. First of all, with all our crazy capabilities, we could be doing pretty much anything, right? There are infinite avenues open to us. And those avenues are branching off in infinite ways. So to close all these off and turn them into some kind of super highway straight towards some idealized future self just sounds, well, let's be honest, it sounds super boring and restrictive, right? It makes you want to rebel. Second, we learn super fast and we can pivot in the blink of an eye, right? We're incredibly resilient and even better, in Taleb's terms, anti-fragile. We swerve, we fall, we bump into things, we fall through a trapdoor, but this does not slow us down. It may even speed us up. So, spending a lot of time trying to visualize who you want to become is probably not the best way to give direction and focus to your life. Also, not to mention, you're saying to yourself, hey, the person you are right now kind of sucks, right? You're already amazing. You're absolutely wonderful as you are. You don't need to become a different person. And I probably should add here that it is a good idea to give some direction and focus to your life. But at the same time, you want to allow yourself to improvise, change lanes or vehicles or countries whenever it feels right. Okay, so knowing that for fast-brained humans, direction can feel like a depressing constraint, right? That we don't really, that it's not very useful if we make it too specific. How do you find direction? Well, this is how. Stop asking who you want to become and instead ask how you want to feel. Seriously, how do you want to feel? on a daily basis? You want to feel excited, fulfilled, inspired, creative, contented, challenged? I want you to think about it and make a list. And don't get too perfectionistic about this, right? On Tuesday, I want to feel this. In 2025, December 28, I want to feel XYZ. No. What do you want your overarching feelings to be? Make a list. And listen, if you're not driving or operating heavy machinery or supervising toddlers, you may even do it right now. Just pause the podcast and start writing down what, in your version, your fantasy of a good life, what your overarching feelings would be. Which, by the way, doesn't mean there's not going to be crappy feelings. They'll always be there. But what about the good feelings? What are they going to be like? And then, when you've done that, you can simply work backwards, right? Because you know how you want to feel. Now you get to think about what kind of things make you feel that way. Again, if you can, pause the recording and make that list. I'll give you some of mine as an example. For me, it's very important to feel creative. And I feel creative when I'm painting, creating new content for the podcast, writing, designing new challenges or workshops, taking pictures, all that kind of stuff. I want to feel aligned. That is massively important to me. That's the reason I've quit so many jobs, because I never felt aligned, right? So I feel aligned when I work not just with my brain, much as I love it, but also completely in accord, in tune with my heart and my intuition. When I am present with my emotions, right? When I'm able to go with the flow. And I have to say, often, probably not surprising, that actually overlaps with creating. Lucky me. I also want to feel fulfilled. I think this is something many humans share. And I feel fulfilled when I've created something and shared or sent it, for example. I feel fulfilled when I've cooked a beautiful meal and shared it with people. I feel very fulfilled when I've taught a workshop and I've seen people's faces and brains light up. And I also feel very fulfilled after doing something that is rather hard for me, something that challenges me and that is spread out over a longer period of time, but then has a sort of definite end point, or at least a mark, right? Like getting a degree or a black belt in Aikido or whatever, right? Just it having a specific ending. So what is that for you, right? What causes the feelings that you want to feel? Let's say you want to feel challenged. That for you, a good life means you get challenged. You feel challenged a lot. What does that look like? What do you do when you feel challenged? What about excitement? What about all the feels? What do you need to do to feel that way? And take some time to do this, because you're going to start thinking of more things you enjoy feeling and activities that make you feel that way. As you put this, maybe you put the list away for a while, look at it again in a couple of days and start adding to it. And there may even be some things from childhood that you completely forgot about and stopped doing. Like, I don't know, reading a book under the blankets, a torchlight, building a tree hut, looking for seashells on the beach, whatever it was you got up to that you actually loved. That could be something that all of a sudden your heart remembers. You're like, oh my God, that was so good. Now, that doesn't mean that you need to start building more tree huts, although it could. But what is the next, the future version of that, right? That is something you can start thinking, dreaming about. And once you've got that list, which is never going to be complete, but the beginning of a list, you have the beginnings of a map to a wonderful future, a map of how you want to be human in this wondrous world. And then you can start thinking about how maybe you want to redesign parts of your life to create more of what you want. Maybe there's some things you're already doing that you want to do more of. Maybe there are things that you want to stop doing so you can start doing things that feel way better. And maybe there are some completely new things that you want to add. Again, it's an organic, ever-evolving process. So next week, start with a small shift. Give yourself more of what you want, for example, just once this week. See what it is like, play with it, gather data, and then tweak, evaluate, try some more. I think it's not so much about riding the wave as being the wave. Living a good life is about loving the idea of a future whilst being solidly grounded in the present. Have an amazing week.